The unexpected war. The desert of planet Thalara was quiet. Too quiet. Under the twin suns, the village of Vares prepared for its sacred tradition. Every young girl of the royal bloodline had to face the purity test, an ancient ritual said to prove the body, spirit, and blood were clean and worthy of future bonding. One girl knelt in the dust. Her name was Kayla. She was different from the others. Her skin was violet, smooth and soft, but marked by a single silver streak across her back, a mark the elders whispered about. A flaw, they said. A curse. Kayla's hands trembled as the tribal priestess approached with the golden rod of judgment. The crowd surrounded her in silence, many with cold, judging eyes. The test had 3 stages. 2 she passed. But the third would destroy everything. Far above, in orbit, a human transport ship was falling, hit by debris from a nearby skirmish between border fleets. The war between humans and the Zalari Empire had ended months ago, but the damage was still showing. That's how Captain Reese Carter, a former soldier, crash-landed in Thalara's outer dunes. When he woke, coughing up sand and blood, he had no idea he'd landed in the middle of something far more dangerous than war. An alien ritual he didn't understand, and a girl who was about to be executed. Back at the village, Kayla failed the 3rd trial. The elder slammed the staff into the earth. She is impure. The crowd gasped. She must face the ancient punishment. Kayla's eyes filled with tears, but she did not beg. She simply whispered, "I am still me." And just as the guards stepped forward, a human voice shouted from the edge of the circle, "Stop!" Everyone turned, covered in dust, blood, and confusion. Reese Carter walked into the sacred space. She was declared impure, but he stepped between her and the Blades captain. Reese Carter didn't know their customs. He didn't know their language, but he knew the look in the alien girl's eyes, fear, pain, shame, and he couldn't walk away. As the 2 guards raised their blades to carry out the punishment, Reese stepped forward, placing himself between them and Kayla. His boots crunched the sacred sand. His presence caused a wave of gasps in the crowd. The elders shouted. The guards hesitated. "No outsider may interrupt the purity trial," one priest barked in his tongue. But Reese didn't move. He raised his hands peacefully, trying to signal he meant no harm. Kayla stared up at him, her violet eyes wide with disbelief. No one had ever stood for her before. "Please," Reese said slowly. "She's just a girl." He didn't know if they could understand him, but he pointed to her heart, then shook his head at the blade. "She doesn't need punishment. She needs protection." A moment passed, then 2 guards lunged at him. Reese reacted fast, too fast for them. His military training kicked in. He grabbed one blade mid-swing and slammed his elbow into the guard's chest. The second attacker fell, with a clean sweep of Reese's leg. The crowd gasped again. Whispers began to rise. A human had touched sacred warriors, and won. The high priestess stepped forward, her eyes narrow and full of rage. "This outsider dares to interfere with our law?" she hissed. Kayla finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, but clear. "He is not enemy. He is brave." And deep within, the temple, an ancient guardian statue lit up for the first time in centuries. It had recognized the voice of a true bond. Their bond was forbidden, but it had already begun. Kayla had never touched a human before. And yet, when Captain Reese stood, between her and the blades, something strange had awakened, not just in the crowd, but inside her. Her chest felt warm. Her vision sharpened, and deep in her mind where no one had ever spoken, she felt something connect. Reese. He didn't know it, but his actions had triggered an ancient force. A bond. Inside the temple, the guardian statue continued to glow. The villagers turned toward it, whispering in shock. "It has not awakened in 400 years, not even for our warriors." The high priestess narrowed her eyes. "This human has done something. The girl must be taken into custody, now." Guards reached for Kayla again, but this time she didn't flinch. She stood, tall, still trembling, still bruised but proud. "I will not be punished," she said, loud enough for all to hear. "I passed in my own way." "She is impure," someone shouted. "She's protected," another said. All eyes turned to the human. Rhys didn't understand their language, but Kayla looked at him, eyes full of meaning. "You saved me," she whispered. He gave a small smile. "You didn't deserve to die." Suddenly, Kayla grabbed his hand. The crowd gasped again. Touching a human? Unforgivable. But the Guardian statue blazed even brighter. Then it spoke. A deep, mechanical voice echoed. "The bond has begun." The High Priestess turned pale. "This is impossible," Kayla whispered to Rhys. "We are now connected." Rhys blinked. "What does that mean?" Kayla looked toward the temple. "They will hunt us or worship us." Now marked by the ancients, they must flee together. The Guardian's voice echoed through the village. The bond has been accepted. Everyone froze, even the High Priestess, so full of anger seconds ago, lowered her staff in fear. The villagers dropped to their knees, whispering prayers. This was no ordinary moment. The bond was sacred, ancient, and now it had chosen a human. Rhys looked around, confused. Kayla held his hand tightly. Her voice shook. "They think I'm dangerous now, but with you, I'm something worse, or something holy." "What does that even mean?" Rhys asked. "It means," she whispered, "we have to go." Without waiting for permission, Kayla pulled Rhys through the crowd. Some stepped aside, others shouted. One guard tried to stop them, but as Rhys turned, his body glowed faintly blue, the same color as the Guardian's light. The guard backed, away in fear. They ran through the sacred gate into the desert wind. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the stone paths. Far behind, the temple bells rang, warning the outer villages. The bonded pair had escaped. Rhys and Kayla ran, until their legs ached. They didn't speak. Their breaths filled the silence. When they finally stopped at a cave hidden in the cliffs, Kayla collapsed. Rhys caught her. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," she said, then looked up at him. But everything has changed now. Deep in the temple, the High Priestess stood before the Guardian. "This cannot be," she whispered. "A human, bonded to our bloodline." The Guardian's glowing eyes flickered. "The bond has chosen. The war is coming. The law demands her death, but the bond gives her power inside the shadowy cave." Kayla sat quietly by the fire Rhys had built. Her eyes stared into the flames, her body still, but her mind raced. "I should be dead," she whispered. Rhys glanced up. "But you're not." She looked at him. "Because of you." He shook his head. "You saved yourself. I just showed up." Kayla smiled faintly. "No, you stood between me and the blade. That changed everything." Far away in the village, of Varese, the council of elders gathered. The High Priestess stood before them, her voice cold. She has failed the purity test. She must be hunted. The law is clear. "But she has bonded," one elder argued. "With a human," another spat. "That is not sacred. That is filth." Still, the law was written. A failed initiate could never be embraced, not even if the ancient Guardian declared it. So they sent out the Seekers, silent hunters dressed in white, sworn to end all impure bonds. Back in the cave, Kayla suddenly gasped. Her hands began to glow. Rhys moved to her side. "What's wrong?" "I feel stronger," she said. The bond was doing something, flowing between them. Rhys didn't feel it, but Kayla did. Her body healed faster. Her mind opened. Memories returned. Her voice sharpened. I can hear the Guardian," she whispered, "even from here." She closed her eyes and saw the temple, the elders, the Seekers coming for them. Reese stood and grabbed his gear. Then we don't wait. Kayla looked at him. They'll kill you for standing with me. He shrugged. Let them try. The Seekers arrive, but they've never faced a human before. The air grew cold. Kayla felt it before she heard anything. The Seekers, she whispered. They're close. Reese tightened the straps on his boots. What are they? Kayla stood slowly. They don't speak. They don't ask questions. They just end what the elders call impurity. Reese's eyes narrowed. And I guess you and I top that list now. Outside the cave, 3 figures appeared in the fading light, dressed in white robes, their faces covered by silver masks. Their footsteps made no sound on the sand. Each one held a curved blade made of glowing crystal. They moved as one, silent, swift, unstoppable. Kayla stepped behind Reese. They were once holy. Now they're just shadows. The Seekers stopped at the cave entrance. Then the lead one raised a hand, palm glowing bright. Without warning, a wave of energy hit them. Reese flew back, slamming into the wall. Kayla screamed, but Reese got up, bleeding, breathing hard, but alive. He'd survived worse. He charged forward and tackled the closest Seeker. The white-robed figure moved fast, but not fast enough. Reese grabbed the blade arm and slammed his elbow into the Seeker's mask. The mask cracked. The Seeker collapsed. The others hesitated. A human had landed a blow. Kayla stepped out now, her hands glowing again. This bond is real, she shouted, and I won't run anymore. She raised her voice. Ancient words spilled from her lips, words she didn't know moments ago. The Guardian was speaking through her. The Seekers froze. Their blades dropped to the ground. Then, slowly, they bowed. Reese stared. What just happened? Kayla's eyes shimmered with light. The bond made them hear. She speaks with the voice of the ancients, and they begin to follow. The cave was silent, the air still glowing from Kayla's voice. The 3 Seekers who had come to end her life now kneeled at her feet. Reese stepped beside her, stunned. What did you say to them? Kayla shook her head slowly. I don't know. The words weren't mine. She looked down at her hands, still glowing softly. The bond gave them to me. Or maybe the ancients did. The lead Seeker lifted his mask, revealing a weathered face, eyes full of awe. He bowed deeply. You carry the voice of the first ones. We did not know. Kayla's lips trembled. I was marked impure. I failed the test. The Seeker shook his head. No, the test failed you. That night around a fire outside the cave, the Seekers stayed, no longer enemies but silent protectors. They shared what they knew. The High Priestess had sent more warriors, not Seekers, not holy men, but killers. She feared Kyla now, feared the human more. As the stars appeared above, Kayla sat close to Reese. I used to dream of passing the trial, she said, becoming one of them. Reese looked at her. You're more than that now. She turned to him. They will come for me. He smiled. Let them. She looked down, then back up. Will you stay with me? Reese didn't answer. He didn't have to. He just reached for her hand and held it. Far across the desert, the High Priestess stood in front of a dark chamber. She opened a sealed door. Inside, something ancient awoke. It's time to remind her what true power looks like. The High Priestess unleashes the old power to kill the bonded ones deep under the Temple of Varese. In a sealed black chamber, the High Priestess walked slowly, her eyes lit with fury. Behind her, robed guards hesitated. This chamber is forbidden, one whispered. She ignored them. The bond has corrupted her. The ancients must be silenced. She placed her hand on a glowing altar and the floor trembled. From the shadows, a massive metal figure rose, a machine older than the village itself. The Judgment Beast, built by the ancients, controlled only by the high bloodline. Awaken, she whispered. The beast's eyes glowed red. Far away, Kayla felt the ground shift. Her head jerked toward the east. Reese noticed. "What's wrong?" Her voice trembled. "Something old, something evil, has been released." The Seekers stirred. One of them fell to his knees. "The Judgment Beast," he gasped. "They would dare use that again?" Kayla looked at Reese. "It's not just meant to kill us. It's meant to erase us." That night, while the others slept, Kayla and Reese stood under the stars. "I was born for a trial," Kayla said, "but not the one they planned." She looked at him. "I wasn't strong enough alone, but with you, I'm more than I ever thought possible." Reese smiled. "Then let's face it together." Suddenly, a shadow passed across the moon. The Judgment Beast had arrived, taller than any building, glowing red eyes, covered in runes. Its footsteps cracked the desert floor, and it was headed straight for them. They stood before the Judgment Beast, and the human spoke first. The ground shook with every step the Judgment Beast took. Its giant metal arms hummed with ancient energy. Its red eyes scanned the desert, locked on one target, Kayla. Behind her stood the Seekers, silent and afraid. Even they, once fearless, backed away. But Reese did not move. He stepped forward, alone. Kayla grabbed his arm. "You can't stop that. It was made to destroy armies." Reese looked at her calmly. "I know." "Then why are you going out there?" He smiled faintly. "Because maybe it's never met someone like me." The beast stopped, towering above. Him like a mountain of metal. Its chest opened, revealing a glowing symbol, the same one Kayla had seen in the Guardian. A voice thundered from the machine. "You are not of this world. Step aside." Reese raised his voice. "I won't." "You are not bonded," the voice echoed. "I am," Reese said. "Not by blood, not by law, but by choice." The beast paused. For the first time in centuries, it hesitated. Behind him, Kayla's hands began to glow again. She stepped beside Reese, standing tall, her voice shaking the night. "Together we are stronger than your command." Then she reached for Reese's hand, and the light between them exploded outward in a shockwave of blue energy. The runes on the beast's chest flickered, dimmed, then shut down. The beast took one step back and knelt. From far away, the High Priestess screamed, "No, this is not the prophecy." But it was already too late. The bond had changed everything. The bond was meant to be broken, but it changed their world. Instead, the Judgment Beast, once feared by all, now knelt in the sand, its red eyes dimmed, its weapons powered down. The desert was silent. Kayla stood beside Reese, hand in hand, their bodies glowing with the last light of the bond's awakening. The Seekers bowed behind them. Even the wind seemed to stop. From the temple far away, the High Priestess watched in disbelief. "The bond was forbidden," she whispered. "It should have been destroyed." But her voice had no more power. The ancients had chosen. At dawn, Kayla and Reese returned to the village. No guards came to stop them, no spears, no shouts. The people gathered and watched. Some bowed, others wept, and one by one, they dropped their weapons and touched their foreheads to the ground. The guardian statue inside the temple lit up once more and spoke. "The new age begins with those who dared to break the old one." Kayla was no longer called impure. Now they called her voice of the new path. Reese was no longer the outsider. Now they called him protector of the bond. At the edge of the cliffs, Kayla looked at the horizon. Reese stood beside her. "I never wanted a crown," she said. He grinned. "Good. I never liked thrones." She laughed, then whispered, "But I'm glad I found you, when I had nothing." Reese looked at her. "You were never nothing, Kayla. They just couldn't see it. And so the bond that was meant to be erased became the hope of an entire world. A human and an alien girl, together. Unbreakable.